Good evening. My name is Ryan Anderson, and this is my wife, Brittany. We are honored that we have been given the opportunity to share our story tonight with you. In May of 2020, Brittany and I found out that she was pregnant with our first child. We knew that going through a pregnancy during COVID was not going to be a typical situation, but little did we know nothing about our situation would be typical. I was not able to accompany Brittany due to any of her appointments, but I would often wait in the car and was occasionally allowed to FaceTime. Shortly before Father's Day, we found out that we were actually not having one baby, but actually two, identical twins. Although we were ecstatic, we also realized that this was going to be a high-risk journey. With every appointment, we were reminded of the list of complications that we could possibly encounter. We were so lucky that Brittany's pregnancy was closely monitored because at 19 weeks, we discovered that our babies had developed twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, a rare condition when there is an imbalance of blood exchange found in identical twins. There are only 2 surgeons in the nation that can perform the specialized surgery that could save the lives of our babies, and the closest one was in Pasadena, almost 2 hours away from our home.
It was so hard to think about the future of our babies. At only 19 weeks pregnant, I was going in for an ultrasound every 2 days. It felt like every appointment was just waiting for more bad news. I was mourning the loss of our pregnancy while I was still pregnant, which is something that you shouldn't have to do. I was overwhelmed and scared, and I never knew what to expect from one day to the next. On the morning of October 12th, the nurse had told me that our babies were in distress and I was going into premature labor. I was only 23 weeks and 4 days at this point in our pregnancy. I drove home as quick as I could to grab Brian from our house, and we were on our way to the high-risk OB in Riverside, actually, at the hospital we were supposed to deliver at, when they called me and said, you know what, you have to go right to Pasadena because I think the surgery is going to be your only option at this point. The next morning, I went into surgery at Huntington Memorial Hospital, and after nearly completing a successful surgery, it took about an hour and a half, my amniotic sac spontaneously ruptured. It was all a whirlwind from there. The doctors felt as though delivery of the babies was going to be imminent, and we needed to quickly decide whether we wanted to try to keep the babies alive or if we felt that we needed to terminate our pregnancy. It was the worst day of our lives. We were faced with the decisions that no parents should ever have to make. We were given only a 50% chance of survival if the babies were even born. And we were told that the babies would be born blind. We were told that they probably wouldn't be able to walk, that they wouldn't be able to eat normally, and that the neurological deficits could be so severe that it would dramatically affect their quality of life. Then they asked us if we wanted to have a priest present at the delivery. It was in that moment that we decided we were going to let the babies choose. If it was in God's will for those babies to be here, then the babies would fight. And even though the surgery was really complicated, the next morning they came in to monitor the babies, and they looked the best that they'd ever looked. So for the next 3 days, thank you. For the next 3 days, the team did everything that they could to try to stop my labor. And it was a constant battle to monitor their heart tones. But every night at midnight, the team would come in and Ryan and I would celebrate, we made it to another day. Because every day matters when they're being born that early. On Friday evening, we were not able to locate one of the baby's heartbeats. And after 8 minutes, they decided it was go time. and they rushed me back for an emergency C-section. Unfortunately, I had to be quickly sedated to get the babies out in time, so neither Ryan nor myself were able to witness the birth of our babies.
Marin and Isla were born at 24 weeks, only one day past the medical definition of viability, on October 16th at 8:28 p.m. Marin weighed 1 pound 1 ounce, and Isla weighed 2 pounds half an ounce. Both girls were only 12 inches long. The doctor told us that both babies were in stable condition and to prepare ourselves for the arduous days and nights filled by progress and the occasional step backwards. If everything went as expected, the girls would be in the NICU for the next 4 months. Walking out of the hospital and leaving our girls was one of the hardest things that Brittany and I have ever had to do. We live 2 hours away and couldn't imagine not seeing them every day, especially when tomorrow is never guaranteed. That's when we learned about the Ronald McDonald House. Our social worker was able to contact them on our behalf, and we were able to get a room immediately. Everything fell into place so easily that we knew that this was where we were meant to be. After 10 days of chaos, moving into the Ronald McDonald House finally felt like a new normal. We had our room and our own bedroom, our bathroom. It was a small slice away from home. The staff always made sure that we were well taken care of while still giving us the space we needed to process our situation. There were fresh fruits and vegetables in the kitchen, and meals of love would be there, tied up, waiting for us on the kitchen table when we would get home from the hospital at night.
From the comforting welcome package that brought me to tears, no surprise, I'm sure, to the toiletry kits that were much needed after a week laying in a hospital bed. There are so many acts of generosity that we still remember. One night there was a bingo event on the lawn, and we were invited, but we didn't really feel up for social interaction. And they came and told us that one of the prizes that could have been won was a set of baby rattles, and that they wanted us to have them even though we weren't participating in the bingo. And still to this day, those are some of our girls' favorite toys. And it was such a small donation that somebody dropped off and maybe didn't even think twice about. And it's become such an impactful item in our day-to-day life that serves as a constant reminder of the love and support that we were shown in some of our darkest days. Also, another bright moment would be going downstairs and getting a Diet Coke out of the soda machine. We're both still dealing with the Diet Coke addiction from the Ronald McDonald House, but that's a separate story. It's just those little things that really stick with you. Once we moved into the Pasadena home, my mom actually joined the Circle of Healing, and she started donating monthly. She used to donate to a house, Ronald McDonald House in Texas, but now, like us, she has a special place in her heart for the Pasadena location. You never think that you're going to need to stay at a Ronald McDonald House, but here we are. And we're so thankful that the house was here for us.
After 122 days in the NICU and 3 surgeries later, we are blessed to share that our girls are both home and doing amazing. Thank you. Today is actually their first birthday. Although they have faced many developmental challenges expected of micro-preemies, they continue to meet their markers for their adjusted age and manage to even surprise us each day with new talents. Both girls enjoy rolling over, crawling, playing with their iPhones, and saying their favorite word, Dada. They're all doing the things that they were told they would never be able to do, showing us every day what it looks like to persevere through hardships. We want to reiterate how honored we are to have been selected to share our story with you this evening, and we hope it gives you a small window into the impact that your donations make to our families like ours. And as a first responder, I'm accustomed to providing services and care during someone else's emergency, but the Ronald McDonald House was there for mine. Thank you for keeping the Ronald McDonald House open for families like ours. The house was everything we didn't know we needed.